Yes guys, how's it going? This is my first video on YouTube and I thought what a place to start. Last week I caught 430 pips on GJ. So I thought, you know what, let me break it down and upload it to YouTube and we'll go from there. So yeah, as I said, last week I caught 430 pips, so we're just going to do a little breakdown. I'm not going to make it too long, but just sort of the main points, etc, etc. So yeah, entered the week with a bearish outlook, a bearish bias because of the macros mainly. Again, I am using a replay tool, so this is up to date basically because I'm using a monthly. But last month had a very strong bearish candle, taking out the two MAs. These are weekly levels, so you don't really look into them too much on a monthly. But yeah, last month we had a very strong bearish candle. Last week we actually had a bullish candle with a large lower wick, creating a bullish pin bar. But because the overall flow and momentum is bearish, I wasn't really looking into this too much. I wasn't really giving it too much importance. But yeah, you can see the general direction and flow was bearish and still is. Daily, very clear. High, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So as I said, my outlook was for price to create a new lower high and continue down to create a new lower low. I also used the yearly because it is obviously January the 16th today. Like I said, this trade was last week. So I had a brief look at the yearly just to see what was going on and maybe use it to guide some of my trades over the next few months until we get some more significant monthly candles or whatever. And you can see the yearly close as a spin on top of a very large upper wick, and you can see the overall trend on the yearly as well is bearish. But because it's yearly, I'm not really looking at the trend too much. I'm just looking at this candle, which, as I said, spin on top of a very large upper wick. To me, screaming downside, especially because it closed perfectly on the MAs as well. So the macro yearly down to the daily, you can say, all suggesting bearishness. I was, however, open to price pushing up a little higher into sort of this area. As you can see, if you look at my crosshair to the left, it lines up very nicely with the PA, with the liquidity. We've also got the MAs and we've also got the previous lower high. So I was open to price pushing up slightly higher. Also, if we head out to the weekly, you can see the same thing. You see here up to here, we've got a whole bunch of liquidity. So I was open to price extending higher initially before continuing down, and you can see that lines up perfectly now with the 4 hour because I've got this level. Now the reason why I drew out this level is because obviously we had the previous high, lower high, and I was anticipating price to create a new one. But the fact that I was anticipating a new lower high is why I didn't aim for up here, because I wanted price to create, or I was anticipating price creating a pretty significant lower high. Hence why I was aiming for here rather than up here. And again, that lined up perfectly with my idea of the price pushing up slightly higher first before continuing down. And you can see on the hourly as well, but this is how I trade. I've got the micro on this side, so hourly and below on the right, basically my execution screen, and on the left I've got my macro, basically my 4 hour in particular, because I've got another monitor which I use for daily and above. But yeah, this is how I chart, how I trade. You can see it had this level up here, which is basically the same level over here on the 4 hourly. So that is what I was looking at. And you can see from last week, or I suppose 2 weeks ago now, price had this pretty strong bullish week. So again, the momentum at this time was bullish. Again, lines up very nicely with my idea for price to push up slightly higher. Like I said, I am using a replay tool, so I'm going to press play now and we'll see how it goes. Bang on a 4 hour. Again, you can see we then had a breakout of the resistance. Now, straight away, had an instant rejection, perfect rejection as well. On the 4 hour, we had a perfect closure. We had that continuation of bullish momentum, but we then had the perfect closure. Straight away, to me, this was an encouraging sign. Continue. You can see then on the 4 hour, we had a clean rejection. Hourly, we wicks up again. Now on both 4 hourly and hourly, we had two decent upper wicks into the resistance. Straight away, for me, these were encouraging signs because there were signs of bullish weakness and bullish momentum loss. Then on the 4-hour, you can see we had a dragonfly, a hammer, whatever you want to call it. I'm not too fussy with what I name my candles. I don't really care too much. I feel like people focus on that a bit too much in terms of exactly what they call candles. I don't really care. Anyway, you see we had the dragonfly. I'm just gonna call it a dragonfly, followed by a pretty strong bearish candle on the hourly. You can see prices now slowly falling. Large upper wick in here, but I wasn't convinced price was ready to fall off yet. So I was remaining patient, and I wanted price to push back up into the resistance once more. See, the hourly then retested this level in here, which was this level, and bounced off pretty nicely. But again, you can still see upper wicks, which again to me were signs of bullish weakness and signs that the bears were starting to gain control. 4-hour spinning top weakness. Now to me, the MAs are usually pretty strong, or they're strong signals to me, strong confluences, strong indicators. And the fact that price had reacted to them so weakly, I don't know if that's a word, but the fact that the reaction was so weak, again, was another sign of bullish weakness and the bears gaining control. Again, on an hourly, you see all the upper wicks. Continue again. Now on a 4-hour, again, more signs of encouragement for me, suggesting bearishness. Spinning top, followed by a double dojis, followed by a gravestone. Screaming bearishness to me. So now at this point, I was just patiently waiting for price to extend up into the resistance. I did actually jump in a short on Tuesday. I believe it was in here, because I was looking at this level here on the 4-hour, and you can see the crosshair on the hourly. Just in case price decided to, GJ can be very erratic at times. So sort of just in case price decided to reject from here in reverse, I tried to jump on board. Obviously, it did end up as a stop loss hit, and it was definitely premature. But I didn't let that get to me, and I still stuck with my bias because I was confident because of the macros. Continue. You can see price on the hourly has now extended up into the resistance. And again, on a 4-hour, we had another wick perfectly up into the resistance. Now, to me, this was another sign clearly suggesting bullish weakness. Another reason why I was so confident in this resistance is because this was now the high of the week, which was put in on the Monday. Now, the fact that we had the high of the week as well just gave this resistance a little bit more strength. And the fact that price was still respecting it so well, like I said, 4-hour, perfect upper wick, literally to the pip. Again, I was very confident. And hourly, we had a nice reaction. At this point, I was asleep, so obviously I wasn't trading. Continue, you can see we then started throwing up upper wicks on the hourly. I was awake at this point. You can see we then had a large upper wick. At this point, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I start my trading at 7 a.m. So I would have been awake for this candle. This would have been the first candle of me waking up, or of me getting into the chart, sorry. But in the morning, I do sort of an analysis of what happened overnight. You can see price pushed up, and then, like I said, we started to throw the upper wicks now. At this point, I was gearing up for an entry because of the signs. Like I said, on the 4-hourly, we had the perfect upper wick. So now at this point, I was remaining patient because I just wanted a little bit more. And then we got this hourly candle. So now at this point, I zoomed into the 15 so I could get a precise entry. And I was waiting for price to retest the resistance so I could get on boards. And my take profit at the time, initially, was 159. You can see that's only 200 pips. Like I said, this is a 430 pip breakdown. But I'll explain that in a bit. And my stop was, I believe, 20.9, but 20.8 will do. So yeah, I was anticipating price pushing up into this area. I was waiting for price to push back up into this area so I could execute. I didn't want to FOMO in from down here or anything try and chase the trade, because I like to keep my stop losses quite within sort of 20, within a range of say 20 to 30 at a push, 35 at a push, but mainly between 20 and 30. And if I can get less than 20, then that's perfect. But the 20 to 30 is my main range. And if I enter from down here, my position is now like this. And if price does push up to retest the resistance, it now increases the likelihood of a stop loss hit. So I remain patient, and I wanted to wait for price to extend back up. And you can see we then got a perfect retest. Like I said, I did trade this live, obviously. So I was watching this live. As price pushed up, I executed in here. It was very close to this, I believe. I can't remember exactly. I believe it was it may have been 0.55, you know, I can't remember. I'm not going to use the precise levels and whatnot, but it was very similar to this. So yeah, I executed as price was pushing up. I even used a 7 and a 5 and a 2 minute just to try and get that entry even more precise. I'm not going to show it on here, but yeah, see price pushed up. The main point was I wanted to get on board from as close to the resistance as possible. And now we had the fake out, which is sometimes used to entice buyers. It's sometimes used to take out premature stops. Like I said, if I entered from here, if I entered before this trying to catch a trade, that would have taken me out. So it can be used to take out stops or to entice longs. And it also can be used as a signal to jump in a short, like I used it for. See, I got a very nice entry. You can see price had a nice bearish engulf, and then we had a nice little breakout there. Head back out to the hourly now. So he had a perfect rejection, instant rejection as well. And I was very happy with this. I was very encouraged by this PA because it was showing me exactly what I wanted to see. Now on the 4 hourly, copy and paste this over. You can see we had a perfect rejection again with a large upper wick. Everything I wanted to see, all the signs suggesting downside to me. Now if we press play, we can see price started throwing down lower wicks, but the fact that there was 3 in a row, to me, again, it was another sign suggesting bullish weakness, because it was like price was trying to move higher, but it just couldn't, because the bears were sort of containing it in this area. Now, if this was a strong bullish candle, then maybe I would have started to think, you know what, we may continue higher, because that would have been sort of a more solid sign of bullishness. But the fact that there were 3 in a row, to me, it was, again, more signs of bullish weakness. And then we had a decent bearish candle there on the hourly. But I wasn't totally convinced at the time, because it didn't take out these lower wicks. And you can see straight after that, there was a bullish engulf. Again, though, because I was confident in my idea, I remained patient, and you can see we then had another retest for the resistance. And then straight after that, we continued down on the 4 hourly. You can see we had another large upper wick. Again, just a lack of reaction, a lack of bullish reaction to the MAs. As I said, this was all encouraging to me. After that, we had another push up. Again, a very weak candle with a decent little upper wick itself. Failed to take out the previous upper wick. At this point, I was confident, but price was still sort of struggling to make any movement downwards at the time. The MAs were containing it decently, and then all of a sudden we had bang. We had a strong breakout. On the 4 hourly, you can see we had a very strong candle, completely wiping out the MAs, engulfing all of this PA. And straight away, to me, this was a clear sign of massive bearish strength, and it was very encouraging to me. Exactly what I wanted to see. Clean and clear rejections of the resistance. And yeah, I was very happy with it. You can see on the hourly, we did have a lower wick. You can see this was midnight though, so I was sleeping. I wasn't able to react to any of this. I wouldn't have done anything anyway. But you can see I then woke up. I was on the charts around here. That would have been the first candle of my trading. You can see price broke through this hourly level and then flipped it, retested it, and started to continue down. And you can see on the 4 hourly we had a spinning top. Potentially price could have rebounded, but again, the fact that it continued down after that, to me, was a sign of massive bearish strength. So now at this point, I decided to extend my take profit down to here. Now that's the 430 pips. Reason why I decided to extend it down is because, to me, the signs of strength are very encouraging, and I know what GJ can be like. It can very rapidly steam train in a singular direction. So all I was doing was opening the doors to the possibility of price just melting straight. I still kept my original take profit in mind. So at this point, by the way, I took partials. I moved my stop loss to break even because of the progress and because we took out this support. But like I said, I kept my original take profit in mind. And as soon as price hit this area, it was a plan of mine to take more partials and move my stop loss even further. Capital growth and preservation is very, very key to me and my trading strategy. Again, taken from a whole bunch of experience, personal experience on the charts. It's something that I emphasize massively, just taking partials and moving the stop loss to protect. So yeah, at this point I did that, moved my stop loss to break even and took partials. See the 4 hour massive bearish strength. The fact that this spinning top was taken out, again, hugely encouraging to me. Continue. However, before I continue, I will say this trade to me was more or less perfect. I don't really usually say that about my own trades. I always try and look for faults and areas I can improve on. But to me, this was more or less perfect. The only area I would say I could have improved on is in here, and I could have added an additional position. Reason being is we had the very strong breakout prior to that. On the hourly now, we flipped the level, the support, and turned it into resistance, and we had a very nice retest and rejection. If you zoom into the 15-minute, you can see we had perfect PA in here with the upper wicks perfectly into the resistance. Definitely could have pounced on this and jumped in an additional, but I was too concentrated on this position itself, and I missed out on the opportunity there for another additional. So yeah, if I were to improve on this trade in any way, it would have been to add an additional in there, but hey ho. Continuing. See, price then had a strong break off from the support, and now you can see we did break through my original take profit with a lot of strength. So like I said, I took partials and I moved my stop loss a bit further down to around here at this point. You see, price was now 250 pips up. It would be stupid of me to leave my stop where it was. And like I said, from personal experience, I've had trades where price has been up 100, 200 pips, and all of a sudden it's reversed and stopped me out at break even, or ended up hitting my stop loss in a negative. So as I said, they're the experiences I've learned from. So now whenever price makes significant progress, I'm always ensuring I'm rolling my stop down a little or up a little. And as I said, I'm always taking partials. So yeah, had very strong PA here. Completely wiped out this area of liquidity, which is what I was aiming for initially, because it's the liquidity. That's usually what I aim for. Completely wiped it out. And on the 4 hour, you can see it ended up closing perfectly on this level. So now at this point, I was open to, and I was even anticipating a retracement back up into this level and the MAs. On the hourly, back up into here, into the liquidity, before continuing down. But price just continued melting. Initially had a spinning top, took that out straight away, more or less. And the fact that price took out the spinning top again, very encouraging to me. On a 4 hour, completely took out this lower wick as well and continued falling. I was still open to the retracement though, especially on the hourly now, when you see we started to lose momentum in here. I was open to a retracement up into here now, but again, 4 hour spinning top as well. It wasn't a spinning top, but small candle, sign of momentum loss. But again, you can see price just continued low wick on that one. At this point though, because price had absolutely wiped out this level, and we were now in this space, sort of an open area that needed filling, in my opinion, I was fairly confident that it was going to continue down and hit my take profit. So at this point, just remain patient. I didn't make any rash decisions or any decisions at all, really. I believe at this point I did move my stop loss down a little further to about here. But yeah, I was fairly confident that price was going to continue down because we were in this open space. And I felt the only real scenario at this point was for price to retest or touch this liquidity, especially because when you look at the 4 hour, look how strong that is. So yeah, I'll just remain patient and just let price do its thing, really. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, great decision for me to extend my take profit as well. Continuing now. This was now Friday morning and I woke up at 5 a.m. here. This was the candle I sort of first saw when I woke up. Like I said, I do like a review of the night, of the PA during the night. This is the first candle I saw, really. And we were very close on my take profit. Again, at this point, I just remain patient. And then straight after that, we had a take profit hit. Same on the 4 hour. Beautiful take profit hit. Was this the one on the 4 hour that took me out? Or was it this? I believe it was that one. So you can see straight through my take profit. And to be precise, I believe I caught 433.8 pips. Like I said, these aren't the exact levels that I used, but it's basically the trade, just a few pips here and there. But yeah, I think to be precise, I believe it was 433.8 pips that I caught. Like I said, initially I was aiming for about 200 pips, but because of the strength, I reacted to what I was seeing. I reacted to what the chart was telling me, and I extended my take profit. Like I said, all I did was open the door to the possibility, and you can see that was accepted with open arms, I suppose. So yeah, great trades here. I think the main point for me was the execution. See, the execution was almost flawless. And then you can see with my target as well, I had an instant reaction to it. Price did end up falling slightly further, just brushing my level down here, which is from the low. But again, I was 430 pips. I'm not going to be greedy. I was very happy and very grateful for what I caught. Stupid for me to try and squeeze the last drop of juice out of the orange. So yeah, again, capital growth and preservation, 430 pips. I don't need to try and extend anything. I don't need to be greedy. I've got the growth there. Discipline. So yeah, that's the breakdown of the trade basically. Oops. Sorry, apologies. Like I said, I entered the week with a bearish bias, mainly because of the macro. And you can see how the daily ended up closing. It had a massive bearish candle on Wednesday. Or was that? What candle was that? On Thursday, sorry. Thursday's candle was very strong. And you can see how the weekly ended up closing as well. Large upper wick into the MAs. Like I said at the start, I was open to the idea of price extending up. Look where price extended up into perfectly. And on the daily, extended up into this area. Crosshair to the left, you can see almost respected perfectly as well. So yeah, my idea was generated because of the macro. And it worked out almost perfectly. So yeah, that's the breakdown of the video of the 430 pip trade. Like I said, this is my first video on YouTube. I am looking to put out more content. I'm not going to say it's going to be consistent as of yet anyway. But yeah, first video on YouTube. Like I said, what a place to start. Caught 430 pips last week, so I thought, why not? Let me make a breakdown of it. I have got videos on TikTok as well, and I have also got a Twitter account and an Instagram account. I haven't started doing anything on the Instagram yet, but watch out for that. And my username on across all of those is C1CG_. So yeah, I'd appreciate a follow, appreciate any likes, any subscriptions, any comments. But yeah, nice little breakdown. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.